I missed Thanksgiving dinner because I was in the hospital. Not one call, not one message. When I finally got home, there was a plate labeled for the dog. So I left a note on the fridge. 3 hours later, my aunt was crying in the driveway. My name's Zach, I'm 23, and last Thanksgiving, while my entire family was laughing around a table full of turkey and cranberry sauce, I was lying in a hospital bed, shivering under paper-thin sheets, hooked up to an 4. No one knew. Or maybe worse, they didn't notice. Here's what happened. 2 days before Thanksgiving, I collapsed at work. Literally hit the floor of the storage room while restocking boxes at the retail job I took on top of school. I had been feeling nauseous for days. My stomach felt like it was chewing itself from the inside. At first, I thought it was just stress. Between university, shifts at the store, and applying for internships, I'd been stretched so thin I was living off coffee and protein bars. But this time, my body just gave out. Turns out, I had a bleeding ulcer. The ER doctor said it probably started weeks ago, maybe longer, and I'd ignored every warning sign. Classic overachiever move, apparently. They kept me overnight for monitoring, started fluids, and scheduled an endoscopy. They also told me something I didn't expect. You're not going home before Thursday. Maybe Friday. My phone was low on battery when they admitted me. I sent one quick text to the family group chat. In hospital. Stomach ulcer. Staying overnight. We'll update. Then my phone died. That's when I made my first mistake, assuming someone would notice I was gone. My family isn't abusive or violent. They're just indifferent in the worst ways. I was raised mostly by my aunt, Mary Ann, after my mom passed from cancer when I was 10. Mary Ann took me in, and I'm grateful for that. But even as a kid, I could feel the distance. Like I was something she promised someone, not someone she loved. I was always the quiet one, the polite one, the easy kid in a house full of louder cousins. So they sort of forgot about me, until I made honor roll or needed a ride somewhere. And honestly, I got used to it. I stopped fighting for attention a long time ago. I just focused on school and worked toward leaving. But still, I thought this time might be different. I figured at least Mary Ann would notice I wasn't there. That maybe, when I didn't show up for Thanksgiving dinner, someone would text, or call, or ask. They didn't. Thanksgiving Day, I got discharged around 5:45 p.m. The nurse gave me a small brown bag with prescriptions, a list of ulcer-friendly foods, and a warning not to lift anything heavier than a gallon of milk. My stomach felt like someone had scrubbed it raw from the inside, but I was starving. I took an Uber home, the same house I'd lived in for the last 13 years. The lights were still on inside. I remember thinking, maybe I can still catch the end of dinner. I opened the front door. No one was in the living room. I followed the sound of laughter to the backyard. I peeked out the window and saw everyone. My aunt, my 2 cousins, their boyfriends, Uncle Marty, even a neighbor or 2, all drinking wine and digging into slices of pumpkin pie under those string lights they only put up for special occasions. I stood in the kitchen, waiting, listening, hoping someone would come in. But no one did. Then I saw it. On the counter, next to the sink, was a paper plate wrapped in plastic wrap. Something scribbled across the top in thick Sharpie. I leaned closer. For the dog. That was it. No note. No message. Not even a scrap of effort. A plate of leftovers, intended for the dog, was the only thing waiting for me after 3 days in the hospital. I stared at it for longer than I want to admit. Long enough that the condensation on the plastic started to bead. It didn't make sense. My message had gone through. I was sure of it. I'd hit send before the battery gave out. And even if it hadn't, why hadn't anyone even asked where I was? I opened the fridge. It was full. Leftovers packed neatly in Tupperware, each one labeled with a name. Ben, Lisa, Uncle Marty, Mom's sweet potatoes. My name was nowhere. Not even a joke plate. Just that one labeled for the dog. I closed the fridge slowly. My hands were shaking, but it wasn't from hunger or cold. I walked to my room, hoping maybe, there was a card or a blanket left out. Something. But my room wasn't my room anymore. It had been converted into a storage space. Boxes stacked high where my bed used to be. Wrapping paper rolls, old decorations, random junk on every surface. My suitcase was shoved in the corner. My pillow was gone. It hit me right there. They'd already started clearing me out. Like I'd already left. I didn't say anything. Didn't make a sound. I just backed out of the room, picked up a hospital-issued saltine packet from my bag, and sat down at the kitchen table. Still no one had come inside. I could still hear them laughing outside. One of my cousins was yelling something about needing another bottle of red. I looked at the fridge again. Then I reached into the drawer, pulled out a post-it note, and wrote, "Next time, feed the dog yourself. He deserves better company." I stuck it on the fridge door. Then I grabbed my bag, walked out the front door, and left. I didn't go far that night. I took the bus to the university library. It was open 24/7 that week for finals, And I remembered the corner near the vending machines always stayed quiet after midnight. I sat there for hours, just sitting, one stale saltine in my mouth, the hospital bracelet still tight around my wrist. I used the public charger at the welcome desk to bring my phone back to life. That's when I confirmed it. The message had gone through. My text to the family group chat. In hospital. Stomach ulcer. Staying overnight. Will update. Was right there, timestamped at 7:22 p.m. 2 nights before Thanksgiving. Not one response. Not even a heart reaction. In the same thread, right above and below it, 15 photos of pies. A video of my cousin Ben dancing with a wine bottle. A long argument between two aunts about whether to deep fry or oven roast the turkey this year. Dozens of messages. It was like I was a ghost. I scrolled, hoping maybe someone followed up in a separate text. Nothing. Not my aunt. Not my uncle. Not even my cousin Lisa, who used to be like a sister to me before college and boys made her a stranger. They had all just moved on. With me still in the picture, but completely invisible. By 2:30 a.m., I gave up trying to make it make sense. I pulled up my student housing portal. I had a leftover credit from a canceled dorm contract the year before. It was just enough to book a temporary room in the back wing of a crumbling, half-empty campus housing unit. Mold in the corners, stained mattress, no working heater. But it was mine, and it was far away from people who labeled plates for the family dog before thinking of me. That morning, around 7 a.m., I turned my phone back off and fell asleep in a hoodie, curled up with my backpack as a pillow. I didn't turn it back on until the next day, just after noon. 3 missed calls. 2 from a number I didn't recognize. 1 from my aunt. A text from my cousin Lisa. What the hell did you say to Aunt M? She's crying in the driveway. I stared at the screen. Then I read the message again. Crying in the driveway? What was she crying about? Because her little for the dog joke didn't land? Because the human being she forgot about left a note she couldn't laugh off? I hadn't written it to hurt her. I wasn't trying to be dramatic. But there was something deeply satisfying about the image of Marianne standing outside, mascara running, finally noticing the absence of the boy she raised like a cardboard cutout, silent, flat, and easy to ignore. I didn't respond. Not to Lisa. Not to anyone. Instead, I walked down the street to a 24-hour diner, sat in a cracked leather booth, and ordered the plainest thing I could handle. Oatmeal, no sugar, bananas on the side. My stomach still felt like it was made of sandpaper, but food was food. That's when I saw her, Aunt Marianne, pulling into the parking lot. For a second, I thought it was coincidence. But then she looked directly at the window, straight at me. She got out slowly. No makeup, hair in a loose bun. Something about it felt off, like she didn't know how to walk up to me as herself. She came inside and sat across from me without asking. Neither of us said anything at first. She ordered coffee, hands trembling slightly as she placed her bag on the table. Then she finally spoke. I saw the note. That's all she said. Not how are you? Not we were worried. Just that. I meant to leave something for you, she added after a moment. It was a joke. The plate. Ben's idea. He thought it'd be funny for the dog. We didn't know you were in the hospital. I cut in, not raising my voice. I told you. It's in the group chat. She blinked. Zach, we didn't see it. Everyone was talking. It just got lost in the... I held up my phone and scrolled. It's right here. Between the sweet potato casserole pictures and the video of Ben singing Justin Bieber off-key. She stared at it like it was a weapon. I didn't know, she said quietly. I swear to God, I didn't know you were sick, alone, missing. She didn't answer that. She stirred her coffee. For turns. No sugar. Just like my mom used to make it. That hit harder than it should have. I've been trying, she said after a while. I know I'm not perfect. I know I don't always say the right things. But you've been pulling away for years. I had to, I replied. Because I kept showing up, and no one even saw me. She looked down. And then, almost too soft to hear. You remind me of your mother. I looked up. She was my best friend, she continued. And when she died, I thought raising you would keep her close. But you're not her, and you're not me. And somewhere along the way, I got scared I was holding on to someone who didn't really want to stay. It wasn't an excuse, but it was something. I didn't respond. Not yet. I just let the words sit between us, sour and steaming like her black coffee. She slid something across the table. A crumpled envelope. Inside was a $100 grocery gift card and a printed Thanksgiving photo with my name scribbled on the back. That was it. I stared at it for a long time before I finally said, you know what the worst part is? I didn't even expect much. Just, maybe someone asking where I was. She reached for my hand, but I moved it. I'm not mad, I said. I just can't go back to pretending I'm part of something that clearly works fine without me. Her eyes welled up. She didn't argue. She just nodded once, then got up and walked out. Didn't finish her coffee. Didn't look back. And still, not a single person in the family had asked if I was okay. By the end of that weekend, It was clear something had shifted. Not just in me, but in them too. I didn't hear from Aunt Marianne again. Not directly. But the messages started piling up. Missed calls from my cousin Lisa. Then a long voicemail from my uncle. A text from a second cousin I barely talked to that just said, "Hey, heard you were upset? I hope you're okay." Don't know the full story. The tone of it all was weird. Like I had overreacted. Like something small had happened, and I'd made it big. Not one person asked what had actually happened in the hospital. Not one, "Are you okay?" Or "Do you need help?" Just an avalanche of, "Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you come out to the backyard? Why the drama? We thought you were just out with friends." I finally texted Lisa back. "I told you." Scroll up. 5 minutes later. Oh, damn. It's buried under like 30 messages. I swear no one saw it. That line hit me harder than it should have. Buried under 30 messages. I wasn't even worth scrolling back for. For the next couple of days, I kept replaying the dinner in my head. The way everyone had laughed. How the backyard lights glowed like nothing was missing. The labeled leftovers. The plate for the dog. They'd moved on without hesitation. And now? They weren't sorry for what they did. They were sorry for the reaction it caused. It was damage control, not regret. Lisa called that night. I let it go to voicemail. "Zach, seriously? You could have just said something. No one meant anything by it. The dog plate was for Ben's stupid TikTok idea. He was trying to go viral with a Thanksgiving for dogs thing. It wasn't even for you." I replayed that part twice. It wasn't even for you. And somehow, that made it worse. I wasn't even a consideration in the joke. I was just not there. Not in anyone's thoughts. Not in the group photo. Not even in the leftovers plan. A few hours later, I sent one message to the group chat. "Don't worry. I'm fine. Thanks for checking," eventually. Uncle Marty responded first. "Hey now? That's not fair. We were all just caught up in the chaos." Chaos? What chaos? Dinner went perfectly. Everyone smiled in the pictures. The real chaos was me throwing up blood into a paper-lined tray while the nurse whispered that they'd caught it just in time. I never replied. But the next day, the group chat title was changed. It used to be Fam Bam. Now it just said, Thanksgiving 2023 Archive. No one explained it. No one tagged me. They just moved on. Again. That night, I took the long way home from campus. There's this old pedestrian bridge near the back of the dorms, mostly used by dog walkers and the occasional jogger. I stood there for a while, staring at the water below, thinking about all the times I'd made excuses for these people. All the missed birthdays they forgot until the next day. All the rides they couldn't make it to, unless it was someone else. All the times I came home and they said, "Oh, we didn't know you'd be here." I used to think it was just bad communication. Now I realized it was something else. They didn't forget me. They never saw me to begin with. 2 weeks went by. No one from my family reached out after that last message. Not even to argue. Not to check on me. Not even to double down. They just went quiet. The group chat sat frozen. No updates. No memes. No recipes. Just silence. And I realized something I probably should have figured out years ago. Silence isn't peace. It's just absence. I kept to myself. Focused on finals. Ate bland oatmeal and applesauce from the student pantry. Took my meds. Read in quiet corners of the library where no one knew me. And that was kind of perfect. I was floating in my own little bubble of solitude. Until I got a text from an unknown number. "Zach, please. Just coffee. No drama." It was Aunt Marianne. I almost deleted it. But something in the phrasing, "no drama," pissed me off. There had never been drama. Just quiet neglect. That was the point. But I agreed. We met at the same diner. Tuesday, 8 p.m. booth near the window. She looked older. Tired. Not like herself. No polished nails, no perfect scarf. Just a puffer coat and worry lines around her mouth. I ordered toast. She didn't order anything. The waitress tried to joke about how we looked like we were about to break up. Marian didn't laugh. She opened with this. "Do you really think I don't love you?" That was the moment something cracked. Not because she said it, but because for a second, I realized I didn't know how to answer. I had spent so long trying not to need that kind of validation from her that I'd never actually asked myself whether I believed it. Maybe I hadn't wanted to know. I didn't say anything. She leaned forward and started talking. Fast, nervous, like she knew she might lose her chance if she let me think too long. "The plate, that wasn't meant for you. Ben wrote it. He brought one of those stupid ring lights to dinner and was trying to make content out of everything. He made a plate for their dog. Max wrote it in Sharpie. Thought it was funny. The dog didn't even eat it. It was all sweet potatoes. I didn't know you saw it. I didn't even remember it was on the counter." I raised my eyebrows. "And the text I sent from the hospital?" She winced. "I swear, Zach, I didn't see it. I don't check that chat unless someone tags me. There's too many messages flying all day. I was focused on cooking, and it just got lost." I nodded. Slowly. Then I asked, "If I hadn't left that note, would you have noticed I was even there?" That silenced her. And then she said something I didn't expect. We thought you were staying on campus. With friends. You've been so distant lately. I just figured you had your own thing. Because that's what you wanted? I asked. She looked away, took a long breath, and then told me the truth. You look too much like your mother. The way you walk, the way you get quiet when you're hurt. I never told you this, but every year you've grown older. It's like I've been watching her fade and come back at the same time. And it's confusing, Zach. It hurts in a way I wasn't prepared for. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't prepared either. She kept going. When I took you in, I told myself it was for her. But then you were you. Kind, quiet, smart. I loved you. I still do. But part of me always braced for you to leave. And somewhere along the way, I think I started emotionally stepping back before you could do it first. That was the twist I hadn't expected. It had never been hatred or indifference. It was fear, loss, ghosts. She wasn't pushing me away because she didn't care. She was scared to care too much again. But still, none of that explained why no one else reached out. Why the entire family could forget someone so completely. I asked her that. She didn't sugarcoat it. Because they follow my lead. Always have. And I guess my silence told them you were optional. That line burned. Optional. She realized it as soon as she said it. But I waved her off. I didn't want an apology anymore. I just wanted honesty. And I got it. At the end of the night, she said this. If you want to cut us off, I'll understand. If you never come back for another dinner, I won't guilt you. But if you ever want to come home, you can. On your terms. I nodded. Then I said something I hadn't planned. I'm not coming back. But I might let you visit. She smiled, just barely. And that was it. No hugs. No tears. Just truth. It's strange how clarity doesn't hit like a lightning bolt. It creeps in quietly. In the silence after a hard conversation. In the way the phone doesn't buzz anymore. And you finally realize you don't miss it. That week, I went through every drawer in the temporary dorm I was crashing in. I made a list, what I had, what I needed, what I could do without. I applied for a rental studio downtown. I scheduled an appointment with the student aid office. I asked my boss for more shifts. Nothing dramatic. Just movement. And it felt good. A month before, I was lying in a hospital bed wondering if anyone cared enough to check in. Now, I was alive, upright, and rebuilding from the ground up. One step at a time. The studio wasn't much. A single-room walk-up above a laundromat. The walls were thin, and the windows leaked cold air at night. But the key was mine. Mine alone. No more fridge notes. No more sitting in silence, waiting to be remembered. No more disappearing in full view. I furnished it with mismatched chairs from thrift stores and a secondhand mattress. The first thing I put on the wall was a corkboard. On it, I pinned two things. A photo of me and my mom, back when she was healthy, before cancer hollowed out our lives. A sticky note with 3 words. Not invisible anymore. 2 days after I moved in, I sent one final message to the family group chat. Not angry. Not passive-aggressive. Just final. I've got a new place. I'm doing okay. But I'm stepping out of the group chat. If anyone really wants to know how I'm doing, you know where to find me. You didn't lose me. You just never kept me. Then I left the chat. Muted everyone except Marianne. 10 minutes later, Lisa tried to call. I let it ring. An hour after that, Uncle Marty sent a thumbs-up emoji to the message, like he was reacting to a meme. That one stung more than it should have. But I still didn't respond. What was there left to say? The next morning, I made oatmeal on a tiny camping stove, sat by the window, and watched the city come to life. People walking dogs. Kids heading to school. A woman jogging in a neon pink jacket with a stroller in front of her. It felt like breathing for the first time. That night, Marian texted. I hope the new place is warm. I can bring extra blankets if you need. Or a space heater. No strings. Just let me know. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I replied. I'm okay. But thanks. And that was it. Not a rebuild. Not yet. But not a collapse either. I wasn't cutting the family off out of rage. I was letting them fade out of frame because they didn't hold the camera anymore. I did. I walked through my new place again. Empty fridge. Wobbly table. Faint hum of dryers below. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to shrink myself to fit the space I was in. It had been a month since I moved. Long enough for the cold to settle into the window frames of my studio. Long enough for the silence from the family to stop feeling sharp and start feeling quiet. Still, the good kind. I was getting used to the new rhythm. Mornings alone. Grocery runs on foot. Late nights studying with an electric kettle and dollar store tea. And honestly, there was something peaceful about it. No expectations. No misread silences. No group chats, buzzing while you're trying not to exist too loudly in your own house. Just space. And then, one Friday evening, I heard a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I assumed it was the landlord or someone from the laundromat downstairs. But when I opened it, Marianne was standing there. No coat. Just a wool sweater and 2 grocery bags in her arms. One was full of vegetables. The other, books, photos, something wrapped in a dish towel. For a moment, we just stared at each other. The wind pushed against her hair. She didn't say anything right away. She didn't have to. She held out the bags. No expectations. Just wanted to drop these off. I took them, wordless. Inside the dish towel was a container of homemade soup. Lentils, carrots, chunks of soft potato. It smelled like something warm I hadn't felt in a long time. Inside the other bag, under the onions and bananas, was an old photo album. One I hadn't seen in years. Pictures of my mom. My birthdays. Cards I'd made when I was 6. A drawing of our old dog, Bandit. I flipped through them while she stood in the doorway. Quiet. Watching. Finally, she said, "I'm sorry for making you feel optional. I wasn't trying to. But I see it now. Then, you didn't owe us a second chance. But I'm hoping maybe we can earn it anyway. No excuses. No guilt. Just truth." She looked smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I just wasn't looking up to her anymore. I stepped aside. "I have 2 chairs. They don't match." She smiled, eyes glassy. "Doesn't matter." We sat by the window. 2 chipped mugs of tea. Soup on the stove. No family group chat. No one else calling in. Just her and me. She asked about school. I told her. She didn't fill the silence when it came. She just let it sit, like it was finally allowed to be real. Before she left, she reached into her purse and pulled out a folded note. "I found this in a drawer," she said. "You wrote it in 6th grade. Said you wanted to be a grown-up who never forgets anyone's birthday." I remembered that paper. Sloppy handwriting. Crayon border. She smiled and handed it to me. "You always remembered us. I'm sorry we didn't do the same." She didn't cry. Neither did I. She left a second container of soup on the counter. I walked her to the door. She turned once in the hallway and said, almost shyly, "I hope next year you'll come back. Or maybe I'll come here. Either way, let's not let the next dinner be for the dog." And then she was gone. The door closed. The soup steamed. I sat down in one chair and looked at the one across from me. Not empty anymore. Not perfect, but real. And for the first time in a long, long time, that was enough. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.